You have definitely seen it. A fly lands on your kitchen counter, stops completely still, and then just starts rubbing its front legs together, slowly, deliberately, like it's planning something. And every time, without fail, it looks a little suspicious. There's something about the stillness of it, the focus. You're going about your day, and this tiny creature just lands in the middle of your space and takes a moment. Very unbothered, very committed to whatever it's doing. But here's the thing, it's not plotting against you, it's actually doing something kind of fascinating. And once you know what's really going on, you'll never look at a fly the same way again. 1. The suspicious habit. Let's start with the obvious question. Why does a fly even need to do this? Flies taste and smell through their legs, specifically through tiny sensory hairs that cover their feet and lower limbs. These hairs pick up chemical signals from whatever surface the fly lands on. It's how they figure out if something is food, if it's safe, if it's interesting enough to stay on for more than half a second. Think about that for a moment. Every time a fly lands on something, it's not just landing, it's reading. The surface, the temperature, the chemical signature of whatever is there. It's gathering information through its feet before it does anything else. But here's the problem. Flies spend their whole day walking on everything. Windowsills, leaves, bark, soil, whatever's sitting on your countertop. And over time, all of that picks up dust, oils, residue, tiny particles that cling to those sensory hairs. The hairs get coated, they stop working the way they should. So the fly rubs its legs together to clean them. It's basically maintenance, a little reset, the same way you wash your hands when they're dirty. You just do. The fly just does too. 2. The full routine. And they don't just do it with the front legs. If you watch long enough, and I genuinely recommend sitting with a fly for a minute if you ever get the chance, you'll notice the whole body gets attention. Front legs rub together, back legs rub together. Sometimes a back leg drags slowly across a wing, smoothing it down. The face gets cleaned too, with the front legs moving up over the eyes in small, careful strokes. A fly grooming itself is a full routine. It's methodical. It goes in roughly the same order every time, and it looks almost choreographed once you start paying attention. 3. Keeping the instruments sharp. Now here's the part that quietly amazed me when I first read about it. Flies are so committed to staying clean that even a tiny amount of build-up on their sensory hairs can meaningfully affect how well they detect the world around them. Their entire ability to find food, avoid danger, navigate a space, orient themselves in the air, depends on those hairs being clear and working properly. So the rubbing isn't habit. It's not just a nervous tick or some leftover evolutionary reflex. It's the fly actively maintaining the tools it uses to understand its environment, every landing, every single time. Researchers who study insect sensory systems have found that the tiny sensory hairs on a fly's legs are genuinely precise instruments. They can pick up chemical concentrations at extraordinarily low levels, the kind of sensitivity that would be remarkable in any living thing. And the fly knows, in whatever way a fly knows things, that keeping those instruments clean is non-negotiable. It recalibrates constantly, without thinking about it, without stopping to decide. It just does it, every time, because the alternative is moving through the world with dull senses, and that is apparently not something a fly is willing to accept. 4. Land. Feel. Clear. Repeat. There's one more thing worth knowing about the front legs specifically. They get the most attention, and there's a reason for that. The front legs are what a fly uses to make first contact with a new surface. They land, the front legs touch down, and immediately the fly is already receiving information. Is this warm? Is there sugar here? Is this something worth investigating further? So when you see a fly land and immediately start rubbing those front legs together, it's often cleaning off the last surface it touched, clearing the signal, preparing to read the new one without interference from the old one. It's a small loop that never really stops. When you frame it that way, the rubbing starts to look less suspicious and a lot more like focus. 5. It's not just flies. And flies aren't the only ones doing this. Bees do it too, though in a slightly different way. Honeybees and bumblebees groom themselves constantly, cleaning their antennae by pulling them through a small notch on their front legs that acts almost like a comb. The antennae are covered in sensory receptors that detect scent, humidity, temperature, air movement. Keeping them clear isn't optional, it's the whole system. Watch a bee land on a flower sometime. Before it starts feeding, before it does anything else, it often takes a second to pull its antennae through that little groove. Clean. Ready. Then it gets to work. Crickets clean their antennae the same way, dragging them through their mouthparts to remove dust and debris. Their antennae are so central to how they navigate and communicate that a cricket with dirty antennae is essentially a cricket operating blind. What's interesting is that across very different insects, with very different lives and very different environments, this impulse to clean and maintain sensory equipment shows up again and again. It's not specific to one species. It's something that insects, broadly, seem to have figured out is important enough to do constantly, automatically, as a basic part of being alive. 6. The quiet conversation. There's something else that happens when flies groom that doesn't get talked about much. When flies are around other flies, their grooming changes. They groom differently than when they're alone. More of it in some areas, less in others. And at some point the grooming starts to sync up. One fly does it, and nearby flies start doing it too. Not because anyone signaled anything, just because the behaviour is somehow contagious. Researchers who study this call it behavioural synchrony. It's been documented in fruit flies pretty clearly. You put two flies together, and over time their behaviour starts to mirror each other, grooming included. It's not communication the way we think of communication. Nobody is sending a message, but something is passing between them anyway, through the air, through proximity, through whatever it is that makes one fly's routine quietly influence another's. The whole world of an insect runs on signals like that. Subtle ones we mostly can't see from the outside. The leg rubbing you watch through your kitchen window is just one small thread in something much larger and much stranger than it looks. 7. A lot going on in there. I think about this sometimes when I'm somewhere outside and I notice an insect on a surface nearby, doing exactly what it always does. There's a whole system running, senses being maintained, information being gathered, small decisions being made at a speed and a precision that has nothing to do with how big or how simple we assume these creatures to be. A fly weighs almost nothing. Its brain is smaller than a grain of sand, and yet it is doing something right now on whatever surface it has chosen to land on that is genuinely sophisticated. It is maintaining instruments. It is staying calibrated. It is moving through the world with more sensory intention than most people give it credit for. The hand rubbing that looks suspicious, that looks almost theatrical, is just a creature taking care of itself. Quietly, automatically. Flies are genuinely one of the more misunderstood creatures in most people's day. They're easy to dismiss. Nobody has a fly poster on their wall. Next time one lands near you and starts rubbing its legs, you already know what's happening. It's not suspicious. It's not random. It's a creature running its whole system, right there on your countertop, completely unbothered by the fact that you're watching. You've been living next to that your whole life. Now you know what you're actually looking at. If you enjoyed this, there's more like it here. We cover the quiet, overlooked parts of the insect world. The stuff that's been happening right next to you the whole time, in the corner of a window, or on a leaf in the garden or on a counter you walked past without looking twice. Leave a comment if you've ever actually stopped and watched a fly do this. I have a feeling more people have than would ever admit it. I'll see you in the next one.